3 years ago, I posted my very first candle business YouTube video where I shared with whoever was following me at the time that I was now starting a candle business. And if you want to scroll back and rewatch that video, you can kind of see just how different things were and also my excitement, my genuine joy, and I still feel that way. And sometimes I will rewatch that video and I'm just so glad that I documented that process along the way. And I did post a video. It was a what I wish I knew before I started my candle business video. This was, I believe, maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And I wanted to make an update video to that and just kind of touch on the top 3 main things that I have learned or wish that I knew in the very beginning. So if I could go back in time and tell that girl who was out on the balcony, who was so excited about starting a candle business, I wish I could go back and tell her these 3 things. So let's talk about it. Hello, and welcome to my official first podcast video. This is a business podcast all about running and growing your very own candle business. And I am your host, Erica Marie Morris, and I am so happy that you are joining me today. And I apologize if I stumble a little bit in this. This is my first type of video that I'm going to have essentially very minimal editing, and it's just going to be a very natural and kind of flowing conversation. Like I am just having this conversation with you in your living room, in your car, wherever you are right now. And I am planning to expand more of these podcast style videos to more podcast platforms, and also for my own website as well, for ericamariemorris.com, which is not up and running yet, but I hope to kind of start to gather more of that all in one place and have another platform besides just YouTube. So before we get into the topic at hand today, if you are somebody who is looking to start your very own candle business, if you are somebody who is in the research phase, because I know that phase very well, it's actually one of my favorite phases, is just gathering all that information in. And this is something that you either have started or you are looking to get into, I do have a free gift for you to download. It is a candle business launch checklist, and you're able to just kind of see what you should be thinking about as you go along the process of you starting and launching your candle business. So you can go to ericamariemorris.com/checklist, and you'll be able to kind of see along the way and get an idea of the things that you should be considering as you are getting prepared to launch your candle business. Now, the topic at hand today is, what do I wish I would have known before I started my candle business? And again, I did make a previous video before in the past on this topic about 2 years ago, but today's video, I wanted to talk a little bit more about not so surface level. I understand surface level things can kind of come into play, but I wanted to talk more about the things that really affect you as a person and as a business owner. That's not just, I wish I would have chosen different fragrance oils. That's a little bit too surface. And I do have more of those topics in my previous video, and that video did do very well. So I know that, videos like that definitely have their place. But for today's video, I wanted to touch on 3 separate areas. And the first topic that I wanted to discuss on something that I wish I would have known in the very beginning of getting started with my business is, I wish that I would have known that I can't do it all. I can't do everything. And that was something that I have tried to do since the very beginning, up until the very minute details of every little part of my business. And maybe you can relate to this as well, as somebody who maybe is trying to do it all as well. And I feel now very differently about that. And I understand why people say that you need help and you need to outsource and you need to hire and you need other people to take on tasks so that you can focus on the things that are really making you money and really growing your business. And I'm not going to lie, when I would watch or listen to YouTube videos or podcasts of people talking about that, I would think, yes, for other people, that is something that a lot of other people need to do. But for me, I can handle it. I can do everything myself. I don't want to have to hire. I don't want to have to outsource. I don't want to have to feel like another person is having more influence on my business than I am. And it's funny thinking about that now because I definitely don't feel that way anymore. And I have outsourced a couple of things to people on Fiverr. And also Chris, my husband, has recently started taking over some tasks for me, specifically with inventory management and also with pouring, prepping jars, and just things that has really given me the opportunity to work on other things that is going to grow my business even more. And I think that that's something, depending on where you are in your candle business and how you are kind of structuring things and thinking about how things are going to be going, you do want to eventually think about, okay, well, if I am focusing so much on this one aspect, like going through my inventory and adjusting everything and, adding in different products and adjusting the little levels and making sure everything's organized all the time. That to me, not that that's not a good thing to do because it's definitely important, but it's not going to make money. So I think that a lot of my focus now has been to outsource things, outsource tasks that is going to take away from me actually doing the things that I need to do in order to make money and in order to be able to grow my business. And again, I was feeling in the beginning that if I wasn't doing everything myself, then I somehow I couldn't call it my business anymore. It was very weird, and I don't know if that's just like a control thing, but every little tiny detail, I mean, even with like the sticker designs that I have, that I designed and make and print out and add into each order, I have these little candle stickers that I actually had created digitally, like digital art of this, and just the amount of time that I spend on these little things, it just makes me think how much more I would have been able to accomplish from the very beginning if I wasn't so stuck on one, making everything perfect, getting stuck in that if it's not perfect, then I'm not going to do it, so I'll put it off because it's not going to be perfect, and then it just rolls into that never gets done. And I feel like that was something that would constantly hold me into this box of I have to do everything or else it's not going to be the way that I would want to do it. And I think releasing that control and being okay with it not being 100% the way that you would do it is a big part about being a business owner. And I thought that it was the opposite. I thought that if I would give up too much of that control and too much of that for somebody else to handle those things and do those things, I was thinking, okay, that's going to make me less of a business owner, but that is not the case. It's actually the opposite. Nobody is able to do everything on their own. I mean, I have tried to do everything from bookkeeping to inventory management to pouring the candles to social media, on top of also doing my YouTube channel as well. And now that I'm trying to grow more with kind of, the only way I can describe it is just like my personal brand with Erica Marie Morris and the website I'm creating and the shipping course that I'm creating, and kind of having another platform outside of YouTube for candle makers and candle business owners. I realized that I need to be better at time management, which is hilarious. I'm terrible at that. But I'm trying my best. And the way that I'm doing that is by slowly outsourcing, and having Chris help me is the easiest way that I can transition into that, because it's not actually hiring. He's just there to help me, and he's wonderful and has so many other skills that I don't. So being able to utilize that and understand that there are skills and things that would be better off and faster, more efficiently done by somebody else is huge for me. So that is the first point that I wanted to talk about, that I wish that I had known, to just right when you're feeling like you are spending so much time on the very little details of certain things. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've spent hours adjusting my candle labels and trying to get it perfect and trying to get it perfectly centered and perfectly made. And I just think about all the time that was wasted that could have actually been utilized to actually make money and grow my business. So that was number one. Number two, the second thing that I wish I would have known from the very beginning, and I actually touched on this in a previous video, and that is, I wish that I would have just taken action on my ideas sooner. I wish that I didn't think that I had to be in the perfect place with the perfect marketing materials, with the perfect plan, with the perfect product, with all these things that I was thinking, okay, I can't do that until X happens. I can't do that because I don't have this. I can't start to do that because, I don't really know. And I think that can stop a lot of us business owners and people that are especially just getting started. Because when you're first getting started with a business, it is very overwhelming, and it still is along the way. But I have learned that in the beginning of what I was doing, and I think this is the difference between people that grow a little bit faster, a little bit sooner, and people that take a little bit more time to grow, is when you wait to take action on things that could grow your business and make you money because you're worried about the rejection, you're worried about not having the right things, not saying the right things, not knowing the business world yet and how it goes and transactions and all that kind of stuff. And on one hand, I understand that, because I know that there are definitely some things that are very businessy when it comes to running a business. You just have to be, very businessy and professional about it. But there's also other things that's really not, that it's just you're talking to another person. It's another human. It's another individual that you're talking to. There's no special lingo for the most part that you need to know when you're trying to have a business transaction going on. So like if you're trying to sell your candles wholesale, things like that. Of course, there's things that you need to know and implement, but I think that I let the fear of the unknown and the fear of not knowing if I was going to do it perfectly the first time, because I am definitely somebody, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this based on the comments that I get of even people that are just trying to make their very first candle and they're trying to do it perfectly the very first time. I think that there's so much beauty in the growth process and looking back to see where you were. So a lot of times I'm now okay with not being perfect the first time I try to do something, because if you try to do perfect the very first time, then where is your room for growth from there? You kind of have to have that starting point where you can look back on and actually see yourself progressing. But if you spend so much time and so much energy just trying to do it perfect the first time, then you are kind of shorting yourself from two different experiences. The first one is seeing how far you've come and seeing the growth of your product and your business and where you are now. But also you're shorting yourself from the ability to not do it perfect the first time and get through that. And that, again, is something that I've struggled with. And I think the reason why I put off those things that could lead to, I don't want to say failure, but to rejection and people not wanting your product and people not liking it, or having, bad reviews, or customers not liking it, or whatever the case may be, because you didn't do it perfectly the first time. I think that there is definitely a lot of positive things that can come about for you as a business owner to see the progress that you've made. So I think that in the beginning, and now granted, I know that when I launched my candle business in March of 2020, of course, that was when all the craziness was happening. And I look back now and I think, wow, I did not do my first pop-up vendor event, whatever you want to call it. I didn't do that until a year and a half into business, until last October. It's almost been a year since the very first time that I did a local event. And I was just thinking now, I should have done that so much sooner. But I think back and I'm like, maybe I can give myself a little bit of grace because there was all that going on at that time. But if you are somebody who is getting started and you find yourself making excuses on, okay, well, I don't have all of the equipment to do a local event, or I don't know where to find it, so I don't know if I can do it. I think a lot of times, me especially, and maybe you can relate to, giving excuses can make you feel justified in putting it off to a later time. But like I always say with a lot of things is, what would you wish that your future self had done now? And I say that a lot because I tell myself that a lot, and it helps me out when I think of doing things that I don't want to do right now that I can push forward with, and things that is going to make me step out of my comfort zone and make me feel uncomfortable. But I'll ask myself, what is future Erica going to wish that I had done right now? Think of yourself 2, 3, 4 months down the line, or even farther, and ask yourself, what do you wish that you would have done right now that would have made all the difference and created a better life and a better future for your future self? And that is something that I live by, whatever you want to say, my mantra, I don't know. I tell myself that all the time, and I try to use that as much as I can with the advice that I give to, my friends, and just for anybody that watches my channel when you are creating your own business, because there's a lot that goes into creating a business, and taking action early on is something that I wish that I definitely would have done sooner. And I don't just mean with local markets, but I just mean with taking more risks that could have impacted the growth of my business. And I know it's not healthy to look back and be like, oh, I wish, what if. But for the purposes of this video, that's kind of the topic at hand. So this is kind of my open letter to my previous self, to that girl in that video 3 years ago, on what I wish that I could have told her moving forward and what she could expect. And the very last point that I wanted to talk about in this video, the third thing that I wish that I would have known when getting started with this candle business, is you are not only going on a business journey. You are not only starting a business. The whole phrase of starting a business is very, it's broad, and it is not as impactful as what actually happens. So you're not only going on a business journey, you're going on a personal growth journey as well. You are growing your business, simultaneously growing as a person as well. This may sound super cheesy. This may sound like all fluffy, whatever, but it's not, I promise you. I was not expecting this. I have always thought that I would be the same person no matter what, and I think a lot of people think that too. I've always thought that I would just be the same person forever, and that I would never be able to break out of my typical routine, my typical skills, my typical personality, all those kind of things. I always thought that I would stay the exact same. And what business has taught me is it's taught me a lot of resilience and a lot of perseverance, overcoming obstacles, a lot of patience to some extent. And also just, it's taught me that I can bottle up all these passionate things that I'm passionate about, and that passion can move you forward over the really hard things that you're struggling with, the things that I'm just like, I don't even know how to go about doing what I want to do or what I need to do in terms of, building a website or taking product photos or figuring out the taxes. And all those things, little by little, when you're learning, you gain skills, you gain knowledge, and those skills and knowledge will then kind of stack on top of each other and build your self-confidence. It will start to build you up so that the more you learn and the more you grow with your business, the more you start to feel a lot more comfortable in your business and as a business owner, because confidence is something that us as business owners, we do definitely need. Even if you are somebody like me who has always kind of lacked in confidence, the more you push yourself to be vulnerable and be open with yourself, that you don't know everything and you have to learn and get through it. And when you get over that, when there's something that's really hard and you spend a lot of time, research, energy, and brain power to try to figure it out, and then you do, and it subconsciously, I don't know if this is fact, I don't know if this is an actual psychology thing, but I feel like it subconsciously boosts your confidence in yourself, because once you move on and there's something else that comes up that you're like, I don't know if I can do that. I really don't think I can do that. There's a little part of you that says, well, you were able to figure out X, Y, Z, so you could probably figure this out too. And it starts to spiral this confidence in you that you can do it. And the more you build up on those things, the more you build up and get through those obstacles, the better off you'll be as a business owner, because you'll be more confident, you'll feel better in your decision making, and you'll know that no matter what comes up, there is a problem at hand and you can figure out how to solve it. And I can't believe that I am somebody who is in a position that has to solve problems and make decisions. I can't believe that that is a part of my day to day, because that has always been the biggest weakness for me. If I could run away from hard things when I was younger, I did. If I could not do something because it was too hard and I didn't want to fail at it, I would just not even try. So the fact that I've gotten to this point is kind of surreal, to be honest, that I've made it to this point where I am in my business, and I'm getting so much more confident in who I am, the decisions I want to make, and what I want to do with this business and how to get there. And I think that it's all those little things that I learned in the beginning, all throughout that journey of just whenever something's hard, it could be this isn't simple, but you know what I mean. It could just be something. One example that I can think of is when I got my seller's permit. It took me hours. It took me hours to figure it out. I was very frustrated. And instead of giving up on yourself, you have to just push through and know that you can figure it out, and just take a moment, call whoever you need to, call for help. There's no shame in that. I always mention that. There's no shame in that. So use your resources to help you out. You don't have to do it all yourself, but even using those resources and figuring out how to get to the answer that you want to get, those are the steps. Those are the things that can help you in your confidence and build you up. So I think that was something that I wasn't aware of. I didn't know that was going to be part of this journey. That girl in that video 3 years ago, I was excited to start a candle business because I wanted to grow in this craft, grow in this creativity, bring something that gives joy to people. People are always so happy to have candles, see candles, burn candles. And I could see that, and I wanted to be able to bring something that I handmade and be proud of the product that I made and have it be good enough so that people wanted to purchase it. And also at the time, I was transitioning out of another business, which was my eBay reselling business. And this candle business, it felt so different to me. I felt way more connected. I felt like going head first into it and kind of going all in with it felt so natural and just the right thing to do. It just felt right. And I also knew at the time that I needed to find something to fill that, I don't want to say void and I don't want to say empty place, but fill the void to where I wouldn't feel guilty about dropping out of college. I had always felt guilty about that ever since the beginning of 2017 when I dropped out of college. And I was looking for something to give me purpose, give me drive, give me a passion, give me something that I can work on every single day. Because if I don't have that, then I felt like I didn't have like my purpose in life. I didn't have that thing that I was striving for. And it made me feel really sad whenever I wasn't working on something outside of just my regular day job. I always needed that extra thing that I was focused on and striving for. And even though my business now can be overwhelming, it definitely can be overwhelming, it's still worth every single second of all the obstacles, everything I've overcome to be able to grow and build this business, but also build up myself as well, I guess you could say. So these are the 3 things that I wish I would have known when I started my candle business. More things that are under the surface, not so surface level. So just to recap, the 3 things that I wish I would have known from the beginning 3 years ago when I started my candle business is the first thing I wish I would have known that I would need to delegate and outsource tasks to other people, that I can't do everything all on my own. The second thing is I wish that I would have known to take action sooner on things and be able to focus on the growth of my business and not be so worried about not being perfect the first try of doing something. And the third thing is I wish I would have known how much of just as much of a personal growth starting a business is as it is growing the actual business. So that is going to be today's episode. I really hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Of course, this is kind of just a new style that I'm doing. I know I have done my Make Candles with Me videos where I do a little voiceover in the background, but I feel like these kind of videos, I want to be able to dive deeper into certain topics. So if there's anything business related that you want me to dive deeper into, please leave it down in the comment section below. And I'm going to start making a list of different podcast style topics that I can talk about. But with that being said, I am going to conclude today's first business podcast episode, and I really am so grateful for those of you that have stuck around to the very end, because I know this is a longer video than usual, but I really hope that you enjoyed. And with that, please, please, please make sure to always be patient with yourself throughout this journey, and I will talk to you very, very soon.